This is from the Gospel of Luke, and as you can see, it's from Luke chapter 7, and starting at verse 11. Now it happened the day after that he went into a city called Nain, and many of his disciples went with him, and a large crowd. When he came near the gate of the city, behold, a dead man was being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow, and a large crowd from the city was with her. When the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her, and said to her, "Do not weep." Then he came and touched the open coffin, and those who carried him stood still. And he said, "Young man, I said to you, arise." So he who was dead sat up and began to speak, and he presented him to his mother. Now, the interesting thing about this is the amazing ability of Jesus to come into a situation that feels, for all intents and purposes, it feels completely hopeless. How many times have you been in a situation where bereavements come, or where sorrow and pain has really overwhelmed you, and that's really the situation for this woman? And she was also a widow, so it means that basically the opportunities that she had to earn money, the chances of her economic survival were feeling pretty slim in a culture where she couldn't go out and get a job at the supermarket. She was very, very dependent on this young man, and he had just died. And Jesus comes to that gate of the city. He comes to the entrance. He comes to meet with people, those who are, going on the way to the cemetery. I mean, imagine this situation, a point where really it feels like all hope is gone. It feels like the opportunity for anything to happen is gone. It feels like things have become pretty bleak, extremely bleak for this woman at that point. And Jesus comes and steps in. And he steps in and sees her distress. He sees her vulnerability. So I want to pray today that God would come into our situation, the vulnerability, the distress, the hopelessness, the bereavement, the situations where we feel so much is looming in front of us, that death is staring in the face, that his life will come into those situations, and we'll see his hope.